Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Mömus. We are makers of stuff for car guys and today we're looking at how to inspect a used car if it was well taken care of. But before we commence with our E39 inspection, I've got some big announcements to make. First of all, the Beetle sweater is unfortunately sold out. So thank you to everyone who grabbed one. And actually our E39 sweater, the 3D one, is not far behind, so if you want one, be sure to get one in time. Secondly, here in the channel we're gonna switch things around a bit. So we've got the Monday, like today, we are doing the Cynical Car Guy. That will be me talking all things cars and explaining maybe some technical stuff. On Wednesday we will have test drives. Now we're still working with some media and press offices to get that finalized. Friday for the usual build updates. And thirdly, our E39 is sadly for sale. I said it already a couple times before. I don't really know how to go further with it. The project that I had in mind is finished, so it is now for sale. The link is in the description to the ad. It is only in German and in French. So if you want some information in English, be sure to shoot me an email. So I've got some quick tips to see if the used car that you want to buy was well taken care of. I'm not talking about the usual technical and visual inspection of the car, but more like little details to see if the previous owner was actually careful with his car or did he use it just as a tool. So the first thing, for example, is dirt around the trim. Come closer. For example, in here you can see we didn't wash the car especially to show you some of these details, but in here you can see there's some dirt building up next to the trim. And that's the kind of stuff you don't get rid of at the coin wash. You really have to go in and detail that with a small brush, for example, or microfiber towel. And that's the kind of things that you can see. Did the owner actually care for that? You know, maybe it will rust underneath if it's a lot of dirt and, for example, moss. Or did he just leave it? So that's one of these tips. Second item on the menu, does the car wear the correct tires for the season? If the car or if the previous owner had the winter tires on all year, maybe that means that he also skimped on some other maintenance. Then there are some other things to look at, such as do all the tires match, are they the same brand and the same size, etc. And of course the date of production. But some other things you can look at is, do the tires look like they had some kind of sealant or maybe a carrying product for the rubber on them or not. And another thing you can look at is scuff marks. If the tires look like they hit the sidewalk a lot, for example, then maybe the previous owner was not that careful with it and didn't mind hitting some bumps and things, and of course that's not good for your suspension. Next on the menu we have the tank flap. Come along. So behind the tank flap or the fuel door, let me open the car again. Behind the fuel door you can see if it's clean or not. So if it looks like there's a lot of debris and dirt in here and the previous owner tells you, yeah, the car was garaged all the time, then maybe it means that the car was outside during work hours, and then that it was garaged at night is irrelevant. In here you can see there's already tiny rust bubbling going on, and that's caused by not being cleaned and cared for properly. So then you have to seal it from the underside. Next up is the trunk gutter. That's basically the same story. The trunk gutter, if that's also dirty, then maybe again that's one of these things that point out that the previous owner didn't care for if it was going to build up and rust underneath or not. We're very lucky, it's very clean. Has always been very clean as well. Next up is in here we have three things to look at, which is the door rubber. Here you can see it's already a little bit worn, as you can see, but it's not broken, luckily. Next is the carpet. They have to match what the description is telling about the car. If the car is advertised with 100,000 kilometers but does have a big hole in it, then that's one of these things that tells you maybe those 100,000 kilometers are actually double or triple. And it was just wound back. Now the carpet is easy to replace, so the third option you have to look at are the pedals. They have to also match the given kilometers that are described in the ad. If the ad says again 100,000 but the pedals look like 300,000, then that's probably not true. These pedals look very clean, have no damage or worn areas, and that's a good indicator that the ad was at least truthful. So another thing to look at when you're inspecting the carpet is salt stains or large what look like water stains. Maybe the previous owner didn't care to clean his shoes before entering in the winter, and there are large chunks of snow and salt and other debris still stuck to the shoes. Enters the car and it goes into the floor. Maybe the floor is not in the best condition anymore. If that's the case, maybe it's also time to look under the car and at the suspension parts, because maybe if that was the case, the previous owner also didn't care for cleaning the salt off once in a while in the winter and that kind of things. Next up, we are in the engine bay. Okay, so the cleanliness of the engine bay and the engine itself is a controversial topic. For some reason, some people say that they want to see a thick layer of dust so that they can see if the oil is leaking or not and things like that, or if the car has had any maintenance covered up or things like that. I think it's nonsense. I like to keep my engine clean because when I work on it, then I don't get all dirty. Secondly, it's just much nicer to look at when you are opening the hood. And if you go on a small drive even, you can then look under the car. If you don't see any drips, then the car doesn't leak. It's okay for an older car to be a bit moist around the engine, that's only normal. But the reason we're under the hood is to see if the previous owner or maybe some bush mechanics that he hired used the wrong tools or just some ordinary household tools to loosen nuts and bolts and things like that. You want to see, does the car look clean, it doesn't look fiddled with, and things are done properly. So next to the general condition of the car, these are some of the things I always look at when I go to see a used car that I'm interested in, just to get an impression what kind of person the previous owner was. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you Wednesday, hopefully, for a new test drive, and we'll see you Friday for the usual build updates, and we'll see you back next Monday for more Cynical Car Guy. See you. Bye bye.